Hello. Hello there. Camera was having a little trouble with focusing because I have this cat that just loves the crap out of everyone. This is Tucson. Hey there. Tucson is the most lovable little kitten, and well, basically, he's not that little, but just about every time you try to get anything done, he hops on your lap and then goes and hugs you, and I mean literally hugs you. It's funny. But anyway, today I wanted to do a follow-up to the video that I started earlier, which was the stick shift fix. And in that video, what I did was just made a little piece that will go in between my old stick shift, and so that it'll basically hold it in place. Today what I wanted to do was essentially build a new stick shift. Completely new, but basically just show you how to make your own stick shift for your car. And what it'll probably do is it'll be the actual shifter part, and then what I'm going to probably do is a piece that goes in between there, because eventually, even if you build a really nice stick shift for your car, what'll happen is over time the plastic will probably, kind of come apart. It'll eventually get shimmy. So what you can do is, if you have a separate part, all you have to do is buy that separate part, and you can basically just put it back in and it'll be like new. Also, if you have an aftermarket stick shift and it's not fitting right anymore, like if the plastic that came with it, because most of them come with that little cap that goes in there, if that plastic is coming out or if it's just dying out, what you could probably do is essentially just take measurements from your old stick shift and the part that it's going to and build your own new piece of plastic. So anyway, yeah. Let's build some shit. Alright, we gotta get down now. Try to get some stuff done. Okay, so this is the stick shift blend file that we started last time. And these were the two adapter pieces. Original and then the edit one. Now these we are not going to need. These were for the piece to fix the actual stick shift that's in my car. Right now this is the cheat method, but we're not going to be using these for this one, so I'm just going to press M6 and we're going to move them to number 6 slot. Why number 6? I don't know. It just felt good. Let's see here. Lock onto here by pressing the backslash. And what we want to do, this is the piece that they would essentially go into in my car. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to complete this piece. Let's see here. Gonna add a cylinder, and a cylinder is always way huge when it appears, because let's see, so we're gonna see, this one's dimensions are, it's X, it's 1 point. That sound you just heard was a poster falling off my wall. Thankfully, the cats are now inspecting it, and I don't have to worry about them for a few minutes. So, let's go. Just getting the measurements off of this. So what I did was I just made a duplicate of the first cylinder, but this one is a cylinder without the notch taken out of it. So now I'm just going into a side view, and what I'm going to do is just press G and bring it so that it's touching. If we want to make sure it's touching, we can zoom in as far as we want. Press G again, and you just press up on the arrow key until that looks touching enough to me. I'm going to back out, press G again, and we're just going to go to the right until they look about right. And I'm going to zoom in as far as I can again, press G again, and then go to the left. This is kind of a really, I don't know, really kind of inefficient way to do it, but this part we don't really have to be too precise on. See, and I'm just taking a look at them and seeing if I can make that a little more precise. Ain't that neat. I actually didn't think that was precise enough, but I actually went and when I brought it in with the triangles, I actually brought it in, when I brought it in with the arrow keys, I actually got it to 0 point. I didn't even think I could, get to that. So anyway, so this is at 0 point now. The Z is a little bit off, so I'm going to press G as in grab, and then Z for the Z axis. That makes it'll move only the Z axis. And I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to press Shift on the other object, and then go to Tools and Join. So now we know that they join together because both the materials have taken. And then I'm just going to do something else. Okay, so I took them apart just a tiny bit, mainly so I could work on them easier this way. What I'm going to do is just join these parts together. I'm going to press Z, and press A so that I unselect everything. And now the easy part is I'm just going to use the lasso tool, which is where you press Control and see. On mine it is left click. I think that's because my buttons are switched around, because if you're using the regular, like Blender when it first starts off, I believe the keys are set up differently. Getting a little lost in the whole view there because I'm seeing this other line here and I'm thinking that I should see 2 more vertices, but it's actually the line going through because I'm in X-ray view. Using the lasso here. If you want, the other method that I like to use a lot is just pressing C. We'll bring up this, still can't remember the name of the tool, but it's there, so it works. Each time you want to unselect them, just press A again. What the hell? Oh, by the way, this is a perfect time to show you something. You see how the camera angle does this crap here? It's like, even with the color on, the camera angle as you're approaching the object will do this. Now somehow what happened was I went into perspective view by pressing 5. I don't know how the hell I hit it, but I hit it at some point. Now when you're in orthographic, it's not going to go anywhere because it's basically you can only go up to it. But say you want to go into the object, like literally in the object, because you can see right here you're actually seeing into the actual object itself. Well, if you wanted to do that, the problem is when an object in Blender gets to a certain as how small it is, the view will get a little funky. It will not be able to look at it. And if you look over here, you'll have this thing here. It says clip, and then it has start, and then it has end. And what you do is just go to here and bring this down a little bit. So right now it's stuck at, I forget what it was, but when you bring that down, it'll make it so that your small object will not disappear. They do for some reason get a little bit X-ray-ish, as in when you're looking at it, it gets a little bit funky right here, but you kind of get used to it. Like, let me see if I can, let me put, yeah, 10 millimeters seems okay. Now you also notice, like once you get into the object right here, when you scroll in, you'll start to cut right through it, and it's the camera that you're using actually looking right into the object. And inside you can actually see this is the part that is from the top of the other cylinder. I'm going to delete that face. Actually, I'm going to delete both faces, and I'll show you how we're going to put those back together in a bit here. But right now, I'm going to press 5 again, and Z, and I'm just going to fill those things together. This is a lot like I'd call sewing, but you know, not my mama's sewing anyway. Anyway, let's see. Getting back to that. Also, if you want just some fun mathematical stuff, I know I'm a nerd, but what the hell. If you go up here and look at the vertices on your model, and right now the model has, let me see, 107, and 2 of those are selected at the moment. You can actually watch as I bring them together. Now it says 1 of 106. So each time you get rid of those, not only does it bring the model together, it gets rid of some of these vertices on here, which is something you'll might want to pay attention to. Like if you have a really big model, you'll have to, and you want to print it out. Sometimes I forget what the amount of printing you can do vertice wise. I think it has to be like under 1,000 or something. Don't quote me on that though. But say if you are into wanting to build a video game, building video games, you really want to keep track of your vertice count, because it just means more memory, and the more memory means how fast your game can run. Okay, so right now we've gotten to right here, which is where there's this big open gap. What we're going to do, I'm going to hit right there. And let's see, how do I want to, simplest way, I'm going to press Control R to bring down that line right there. I'm going to bring it right about there. And I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. So now we just made 2 more lines of vertice on the model, and Now since this line right here is very precise, and this one is kind of an eyeballed project, I'm going to grab the eyeballed one, and press 5 so I can see from perspective view, because sometimes perspective view is nice for getting in on things. Let me see. I don't know how my view got changed, but there we go. Just change the cm to millimeters. Technically, I don't really need to do that, but it's just kind of feels better when you can actually get up close and look at it. I'm going to grab the second one. So now I'm bringing the eyeballed line to the one that's already kind of perfected. This is kind of the reason why I was bringing it in like this, is so that I can get up close to the other object. Okay, and now what we're going to do to close this hole, really easy thing. Just basically go to the edge selector down here. Start selecting all the edges that go around here. Careful not to hit any on the inside. And if you do hit one on the inside, make sure that you deselect it. Alright, now I got them all selected, then you just press F. It just made a new face, and wasn't that slick. So now, hard part is over. We have, this is basically, it doesn't really matter for the bottom part. The stick shift that we're going to make is only going to really sit on this top part and a little bit from the bottom. So the bottom part doesn't really matter too much. I'll just extend it down a little bit. But this is a replica in Blender, essentially, of the part in my car. I'm going to make it a little bit different on the very top here, and that's just where I'm going to bring it up, then press S to scale, and that just kind of leaves this little bitty kind of softer groove on the top, which the car does have that too. But this is going to serve as a replica piece for the part that it is going to sit on. So this will give us an example of how this part will sit, how it'll look, and also this is going to be what we'll use for making the boolean, which will basically cut the hole into the what we're going to build on top of this. So I'm going to deselect this object, and it's just going to sit there for now. So I'm going to basically backslash out so that we can move around some better. Oh, somebody hit me for that one. I can't believe I just said that. I'm gonna have us in perspective view. And let's see here. I wanted to do, so one friend got me into making a icosahedron. So icosahedron is essentially a shape. I'll show it to you here. Let's see here. Deselect. I'm going to press spacebar. Spacebar you can bring up just about anything on Blender, I think. You can go over to the tools too, but I'm going to press add. And I already know what it's called. So there's a UV sphere, and then there's also an isosphere. Isosphere is basically an icosahedron type sphere. It shows up and it's like this. It looks really weird, kind of a ball. But I'm going to press F6 because I would like it to be a simple icosahedron which is pretty much the Dungeons and Dragons icosahedron if you ever played D&D. And you'll get this. It's 20-sided die, essentially. I don't know if I've had a few of these and I play with them, but I'm wondering how good this would feel as a stick shift. Because, I mean, could you really see grabbing onto it and things like that? So we could go into F6. F6, by the way, only works while the object is sitting in the spot that it spawns from, or where it just pops up. Just to let you know, so once you move this object, it will kind of go away. Let's see here. Try. Trying to scale it down a little bit, but I can scale it down either way, but let's see. I'm gonna leave it as the icosahedron. I don't know if we're gonna use the actual Icasa because it may suck to hold in your hand. I go into orthographic view again, press G, drag it down. Sorry, I'm yawning. It's actually 2:12 in the morning. Don't know if you knew this, but nerds don't really sleep. Let's see here. What I'm looking at when I'm aligning this is actually just the sides of it. Once they basically go completely straight, you know you've gotten it lined up. I'm using the mouse, but actually I can do better by using the keys. There are other ways of aligning it, but sort of the eyeball method. Let's see here. There we go. I just went and zeroed out the location. I'm gonna bring it down. It's not going to be exactly, that's not how it's really going to look, but because I have other plans for this. Now, just a big chunky, isosphere for a stick shift is kind of, it's kind of blah. So what I wanted to do is I'm going to show you some neat little tricks on what you can do in Blender that'll make things a little bit more interesting. Let's see, we have all of the sides selected. I'll just press A to tab all of them. And then what you can do, go down here. This is the fun spot. This is basically what point or how you're going to tell it how to grab things. Like, medium point is, it'll grab kind of right in the middle there. But if you grab two objects, if you select two faces, medium point will be right in the middle of both of those. And I'm pressing scale just to screw with it, but to show you what it'll do. And then pressing Control Z to undo what it just did. And then you have active element. Let's see, so active element, if you watch, you can see right here it's grabbed onto that and right in the center, whereas if you go to here it's now gone to that one. It's just going to whichever face selection you were going to. If you put this in vertices, it will go to the vertice you're selecting, while you're selecting the others. I usually wouldn't do that, but basically that's just showing you kind of what those do. 3D cursor is if you use the, depending on how your button layout is set up, mine is actually reversed, but one of the buttons will move the 3D cursor, and in this way you can actually move the cursor, which is this little 3D widget, and you can basically, excuse me, grab onto one of those and then move the cursor here, and essentially it will move wherever the cursor is. This is really only helpful, honestly, when, say, if you're trying to grab something but you really can't see it very well or can't get to it very well. You might want to use the 3D cursor mode. But the one we're going to use is individual origins. And what I'm going to do is grab all the faces and then watch this. Okay, then we're going to press extrude individual. Now we're just only going to press it. We're not going to do, see, if you basically press that, it will automatically lock on all the faces, and then anywhere you move it, it will move those out or in. This is really kind of cool for, say, if you wanted to make a model with a grenade or something. You could make the little pineapple parts with this, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to press that once, and then what you're going to do is press the, let's see, scale, and this will scale, since it's on individual origins, it'll scale everything on the edges there. So it'll scale each one on its own individual axis or its individual face. And then what we're going to do is press delete faces, and now you have this, basically this model that is completely, you know, it's basically transparent, well, sort of. However, there's a problem. If you wanted to print this, it won't print because those faces are like paper. So what you're gonna do, go over into the modifiers tab. I'm gonna bring up, Solidify. Solidify will automatically build a face on the inside of any object you're making. So in this case, we're going to bring the thickness up to make the faces thicker. And I also set them to, let's see, even thickness. So now you have these faces on the inside of the model too, which will make it so that if you print it, this whole object will print. Let's see, I'm going to apply, get out of, tab out of edit mode and apply those, and now once you've applied them, all those faces are now part of that object. Now the only thing though, the thing I don't like is the way the faces look once you're in here. Because each one of them individually has these parts that are coming together. So what I'm going to do, I actually wonder, I'm going to try something here. What I'm going to try and do is dissolve that edge there and see if it brings them together. Press Z, not Z, X, and dissolve edge. It looks like that did work. What I wanted to do is mainly, if you were to basically just press go here grab two of these and press F, it looks like they came together, but they didn't quite do that. They didn't come together exactly the way you'd think. Because if you get up close to them, you'll end up finding out that they still have that bend where that edge is. Whereas dissolve is a little bit different and kind of changes the geometry. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on all of these edges on the star. I'm going to see if it works okay when I... Yep. So it's just basically one way to make the geometry look a little bit better, and so that you don't have everything doing this concaving kind of thing where it's going inside. So what I'm going to grab all of any face that is in kind of the middle of those. Kind of in the middle of the stars that you're seeing in here. Press Z, dissolve edges. I still have a few left, but I'm just sort of dissolving them as I go here. Now this stick shift's going to be completely different, so it's not going to be like the other one that I did. Dissolve edges. Looks like I'm running out of edges to get rid of. Tab into 5. So now we're right inside it. Okay, looks like I've gotten them all. Okay. So now we have this icosahedron that is, it's basically, you know, has nothing on the inside of it. What else do we want to do with that? Alright, so we have this cool icosahedron on top of the part that would be in the car. The only thing now is how are you going to grab onto this thing, and also how strong is this going to be, because these walls aren't that thick, I don't believe. I'm not sure, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to press 5, go into orthographic. I'm going to go over to, where is it, where it says grease pencil on your little list here, and get ruler, protractor, and I'm going to do is just go from, come on, there we go. You have to hold down Control, and then you can basically see how far from one to another is. see. There we go. Keep on accidentally hitting two things here. There we go. I'm trying to just grab the end of this. I'm going to just go up to it closer. There we go. And I have a cat in my lap again. Oy. Necessarily, I'm not really trying to get a exact measurement, but just from one edge we got 8 point, well, basically about 8 some millimeters, and that's all I need to really know. Is 8 millimeters is pretty good for how big each one of these little walls will be. I'm actually taking my caliper out just to see how thick that is, just to make sure. Oh yeah, 8 millimeters would be very well for the walls of this thing. So I'm just gonna press exit. That'll get rid of that. But the thing is, right now, where this sits is sitting on this little, this basically truss, I don't know what you want to call it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this, turn it to the side, grab the whole object, I'm going to rotate to about there for right now. I'm going to zoom in closer. This is eyeball math. Let's see, I'm going to rotate it again, and if you press T or N, that will get rid of your sub-menus, by the way. But that looks pretty good to me. The reason why I'm doing that is just that it's going to be stronger, because you can see that from the very top down, we basically have this circle right in the middle of the triangle part of the bottom here. The triangle part is going to come in handy in a minute, because we're going to just edit that a little bit. So what I'm going to do is we're going to grab 1, 2, 3. Grab those 3 pieces right there. I'm going to turn it into a front view. Press E for extrude. And that is going to bring that triangle parts straight down. And then what I'm going to do is press scale S and move those parts in. Kind of purposely keeping this this one geometric looking. We will get into some cooler stuff later on, but right now, basically doing geometric stuff is pretty easy and simple for somebody to do. It doesn't entail a lot of... Alright, cat, I have to knock... You gotta get out of here. Sorry. Just sometimes you have to throw a cat to the floor. And throw him, but... Anyway. Trying to keep this... And let me see, I'm gonna grab all 3 sides. I'm gonna see if I can pull them down. I know I can, I'm just basically seeing how will that look. Because I want to keep the icosahedron shape, but I also want to make it strong so that it doesn't come apart while you're holding on to this thing, because this is basically operating the linkage to your car. That looks kind of cool. I'm going to press 5. We're going to go into perspective view. Now we're right on the inside of the icosahedron. And let's see here. What I am doing is I'm just checking some walls here. Delete those faces, and this will make sense in a bit, hopefully. Okay. Sometimes it's easy to get confused with what you are doing. So what I was just doing there, got rid of those. I'm going to grab those faces, going to press F, and that will basically fill in that space. And I think I'm going to put something on this inside of this too, because it's a 3D printing is really cool the way it works. It doesn't really need the normal building parameters that you would normally use. So let's see here. Kind of get confused with where the front went when doing this, but it'll probably all make more sense later. There we can go in to X-ray, and we can just see from the front of this thing and the side of this thing. So you can see it all even has sort of the stick shift shape. It just happens to be very, very, geometric looking. And then what I'm going to do down here, right on these three, select them all, press F to fill in. You'll notice I'm not using anything yet to do any let's see, how do you put it, multi-resolutions on this yet. I will probably do that later, but not right now. I want to keep it very geometric, and the multi-resolution stuff I'll probably do later on just to see how it'll look. Because the multi-res, you can actually make things look very soft. Like, I'll just show you right now kind of what this would look like if we added subdivisions. You can see that the shape starts to change a lot. You still sort of have it, but you'll see there's a lot more geometry that's being added to it. And now you can go over to here, like say if you were rendering a view, if you wanted to render something to look nice, and I have a cat in my lap again. By the way, I have no door, just to let you know. That's why I always have cats in my lap. But if you were to press smooth, it will make all of these faces look smooth. However, when it prints, that's not really exactly what happens. The smoothness is more of something that is something for the look of the eye on computer stuff. But it doesn't exactly smooth out those faces. The faces are still there, it's just how we view them. So I usually leave it in flat view whenever you want to print something. And the only thing you're going to do to make it smoother is add, more subdivisions. However, if you add too many subdivisions, this means you're going to have to wait around for a long time while that's loading up to get it printed out. And by the way, I am seeing something right now that needs to be fixed. You see right here where it's all funny looking, where it's one different color? That's because the walls that are coming in here that were extruded down are backward. In modeling, whenever you're modeling walls, what'll happen sometimes is it gets confused with which way is which. And in this case, I'm just going to turn off subdivide. I couldn't see that when it was doing that because of it doesn't look very different right now. But when it was in multi-res, I could see that there are these walls that basically need to be, you can either do one thing. I'm actually going to put it back in multi-res again just so that I can see how this looks. Okay. So now you can see where that line is. That's where the walls are. And the walls it's hitting is just these walls right here and probably this. If I look inside of it, I can see you know, that bottom part is now nice, but down here you can still see inside the walls are reversed. So there's a couple ways you can deal with that. I can either go into UV shading and we can recalculate, and recalculating fix that problem. The other way is I'm going to press Control Z to go back so that it's reversed again. The other way is just simply to grab the walls that you know are flipped and press flip direction, and voila! You now have all your walls fixed. And let's see, I'm going to take off multi-res too. I'm going to probably make 2 of these things. I always end up making multiple versions of my projects just in case. I don't know if I'll really build this one. I'll probably will build it eventually. It's just right now I don't really need it. Excuse me, that was the cat knocking stuff over. Oi. So anyway, this will actually work in certain ways. I'm going to press Control D, and I'm just going to, let's see, top down. I'm going to move, I made a duplicate and I'm going to move it over here. Let's see, what can we do in here? I'm going to press Control E, or not Control, just E, Shift, and let me see, do we want something to be on the inside of this icosahedron? Because one thing we could do is put another one right in the inside of it, which might look kind of cool. Looks like a cage. You could probably put like a model of a spider or something into it. There's a lot of things you could do here. Right now I'm just going to leave it blank, and we'll think of something later. Okay, by the way, this is the cat that keeps jumping on my lap. This one's named Dorothy. They're my roommate's cats. Dorothy also we call Stinky because for some reason she smells a bit. I don't know why. Anyway, it was about as a it's back. As I was saying, one thing about cats is you do not own a cat. Cats own you. Anyway, as I was saying, I was about to end up finishing on that model, but the one thing I wanted to do that's sort of something new I haven't done before is I wanted to make an adapter inside of the actual model that I'm going to build. The reason for this is essentially every time if you have a stick shift and it's an aftermarket, you're going to push it around, and after a while it starts, that little plastic piece that holds it in place rather snugly starts to come out. And eventually what happens is you just sort of lose grip, and then you end up getting a new one. So what I'm going to do is take the one that I have and I'm going to make an adapter piece. And the reason for this is so after a while after a while of say hello. Don't eat my ears. After a while it'll start to wear out, so what I'm going to do is build an adapter in the middle so that as you're moving this thing, if say it starts to wear out, all you have to do is build a new adapter piece. And also that's cheaper than basically building a whole new part with a printer, is you're just building the adapter piece. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. So this is going to kind of jump a little bit because I'm kind of was figuring out how to do this as well. So just a moment. Stinky cat. Why are... Back to work. Okay, again, so what I'm going to do, I'm grabbing on to simply this piece right here. I'm going to press S to scale out. What we're going to do is... Let's see, I'm going to try this. I'm going to go into X-ray. Let's see, how should we do this? Grab the whole object. I'm going to move it a little bit so that's sort of in the middle, although this doesn't really have a middle, so I'll go back, because that technically is the middle, but it doesn't seem like the middle. It's the middle of a triangle. But let's see. Usually what I'll do with something like this is I make a boolean. And I think what I'm going to do, just for a little bit of added stability, add a line there and a line there, and you'll see this second line just popped up. The second line is that when you're adding lines, what happens is Blender will essentially, it starts making extra geometry, and because these are, what is the name? Basically, if you have a circle, a number of connecting lines that connect to each other, they end up making terminating. It's terminating lines, essentially. And the computer gets a little confused, and then it'll make your terminating, basically, I don't know if that's exactly what you call them, but it's sort of what it is they're essentially terminating, and because this line is right here, it's not terminating. Once I added that line and then added the other line, it was able to complete the circuit, so to speak. And sorry I don't know the exact terminology, but I am not a professor in this, I just know how it works. Let's see, dissolve edges. So what I did is I just got rid of that extra geometry. I'm actually going to do is take this and move it right to last. So we're going to make this line all the way around connect to that. And I'm going to grab all of these little extra vertices that we just made also, press X, and dissolve vertices, they all go away. And let's see, yep, neat. Basically what I did was just went Control or Shift Alt, and it went all the way around from one side to the other side, so we just kind of know where. And it's not going anywhere else, so that's basically, we just know that it goes up to the top and then it terminates right there and there. But as far as Blender's concerned, they're all part of one wire, so that's kind of neat sort of thing. I don't know, I think it's neat, but then again, I'm a big fucking nerd. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab both of these sides, I'm going to press Control 7, which will bring us to the bottom, looking down, and then I'm going to press Scale S, and then I'm also going to press X, and this will scale only on the X axis. Now I think, yes, this is not doing precisely what I want, so instead we're just going to go down to this, which is the Transform tool, and this means we click on that and we can, I know why that's not working. I didn't turn, I have, let me see, there we go. I had individual axis still on, or individual origin, which just kind of changes the way it does, but now since we're kind of going outward on this, And then I think what I'll do on the bottom here is bring that in so it's sort of a hexagon-ish shape. Because the bottom, I want to make it look geometric, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Just sort of trying to keep the same theme. And right here, though, this is a little weird. This part right here is what I would call suspect, because if you notice, you see it right here, it goes that way. When you get here, it looks like nothing. I know that there's an actual line there, but we can't see it. So let's see what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna grab top and 2 of these, and we're just gonna go. This is just mainly, I don't know if this will even really matter for much of anything. Tools, and I'm gonna press subdivide, which will add 1 line there, but that's not what I wanted. I'm gonna grab that line, I'm gonna press Alt M, and we're gonna move it over there. And then I'm gonna grab this, and we're gonna press Alt M to last, and we're gonna move it right there. So that way you can actually see that funky line that we couldn't see before. And I'm going to do it the same on this side. This is actually, it's kind of a cheapsy way of doing it, but it works, so who cares? Do the same thing there. So now we can actually just see that funny line. Then, actually, just to make this look a little prettier, I'm going to take that and we're going to press last. And this is just kind of making that look a little bit of a sharper edge. And then you'll notice you have these vertices right here, which are a little funky. I'm going to go select those, press X, see, dissolve edges, and dissolve vertices. Nope, that was way too much for it. Let's see. Sometimes you have to kind of know how this will happen, because right now we just dissolve vertices, or the edges, but we have the vertices, and usually you have to do the edges first, then the vertices after that. Sometimes you can kind of widget it and it'll figure it out, but sometimes it doesn't work. Widget, that's a technical term, isn't it? Let's see. Okay, that's looking alright. Let's see. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab these two, kind of press extrude, bring that down a little bit, press S to scale, and then I'm going to go and press 3 to bring us in a side view, Z to make an X-ray. I'm going to bring the whole object up a tiny scotch, about right there, looks good. And then I just had to press tab to get out of that so I could move the whole object, by the way. And then we're going to press E again, and what this is doing is we're extruding all the area around that shaft piece in to our stick shift knob that we're making here. Why did we do that? Well, I'll show you in a sec here. I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to move it to number 2. We're just going to press M and 2, and that'll move it over to one of the other layers that we have in here. I'm going to save just in case. And then, let's see, I'm gonna go add, let's say, good shape to work with this. Good shape. I'll just go with a cube. See how this comes out. I'm just gonna scale this sucker down. Not even really going too crazy on detail in this. I'm gonna press location. I'm just gonna zero this thing out. And I'm gonna press Z so we can have X-ray vision again. Ooh, X-ray vision. Let's see here. I have an easier idea, I think. Often, sometimes with this stuff, it's just how to look at it. Gonna press, let's see here, extrude, turn it to the side, grab the Z axis, and we're going to bring it down. So you basically have this part going in, out, and down. Why? Watch this. I go in here. I'm just going to go and make a line about there. Press Shift D so we make two of these. And that's not what I want to do. Move one of them out here. Now we're going to go back to this one. And delete all those faces, leaving back to the same hole we had before, but this time I'm just going to go press F so that we can seal that up. So it's back to the same way it was before. A little bit different with the how it looks, but now this piece, all we need are these walls here. And I know that there's a better way of doing this. I haven't really learned how to do that yet, but I know some simple ways. What I'm going to do is we're going to go into X-ray. We're going to tab into edit mode, and I'm just going to, come on, press A to unselect all of those faces, B to bring up the box tool. I'm going to go over all of that stuff and delete vertices. So all we are left with now is this little piece right here. Let's see. So right now it's being controlled from right up here. I want to get that a little different, so I'm going to press A. We're just going to move all of that up to about there, or kind of the middle. So now when we grab it, we can move the whole thing. That's just a really simple way to do it. But I'm going to do now, so we're going to close this up again. I'm going to pick a color. Make that blue so that we kind of can see what's the difference. This is actually going to be part of the adapter piece. And I believe, let's see what happens when we just zero things out. Hey, groovy. It went pretty much back to where we wanted it, except it's a little bit different place because of we moved that point. So I'm going to just grab it and move it down. You can see right where the edges where it's not matching up. I could actually fix that by simply not changing that point. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do is press Control Z all the way back to where before we changed that point. And that's a lot of crap because you're actually seeing everything. There's one button on here, it's a little squiggle up in the corner. When you press that squiggle, you will see every single thing on every layer all at the same time. Press that squiggle so it all goes away because it's confusing as hell. Let's see. I'll go back down on here, fill that up, and now I'm going to try zeroing it out. And you'll see that it is way below, but that's mainly simply because I moved everything down a little bit so that it could just clear out where the walls were. But when I press 7, should be not far off. Yeah, we are far off. Oh well. Okay, I'm going to bring it up into piece again. And there's a way to fix all of this stuff just to make sure. One thing I'm going to do is press Shift, wait a minute, not this one, Alt S, Alt Shift, no, there we go, Alt Control A. Control A will bring up this thing where it says location, rotation, scale, rotation and scale. What this will do is if I go to location, it will zero out location. So no matter where you move this thing now, and also you'll look at where the point, the center point just went to the middle, which is really cool. But all you have to do now, say if you lose your location, is you just press 0 and it brings it back automatically to that location. So I'm gonna give it a color, and we're gonna call this, gonna give it a name, adapter part. Yeah, it's a brilliant name, ain't it? So the thing with this is not perfect. It is, because of the way I did it, it's not a perfect match. So what I'm going to do is go into modifiers. We're just going to do a boolean, and we're going to do, let me see, difference, and let's see here. Isosphere 1, we're going to change that to iso stick shifter. Go back down here, boolean, iso stick shifter, apply, and what it'll do is you'll notice it just basically, I was just a tad, tiny bit off, and it corrected how much I was off by. Let's see, can I still, nope. So it basically corrected exactly how much I was off by. So what I'm going to do, and This is more of a way of correcting crappy math, but let's see here. Notice one of the things that it also did was it terminated my ability to send a line all the way around here. So, right there is where my lines were farked up. I'm just gonna go and last. I'm going to do something simpler. Try this. No, it is not going for that. Basically what I'm doing right now is I just am going around this thing and I'm picking where the correct math is, and I'm taking my bad math and moving it to where the correct math is. And then what I'm going to do is make, so I've just gone around and I moved all of those parts to where the good math part is, where the computer has decided where I'm a little bit off when I put that back. And I want to make this able so that I can make a line that'll go around to each side. A loop, essentially. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that old little trick of doing this. It's going to go right there. Basically just bringing these all together using go subdivide, and then I'm going to bring these up again too, and all I'm doing is pressing Alt-N at last, bringing those together. These won't have to be very detailed, and I'll show you why in a jiff. I'll just bring that and press. So I'm going to take that line, I'm going to dissolve it just for the hell of it. Don't need it. And I'm going to take these two lines here, I'm just going to dissolve them. And now, when you go into here, all I have to do is zero that out and it automatically goes right back to dead center on that part. So now we're looking at from the side view. I'm going to go and press Control R, which will leave us this line that goes all the way around it, which is what I wanted to do. That's why I was adding all of those extra things. And I'm just going to, let's see here. I'm just adding a little bit of an extra thing at the very bottom of here. Pressing Scale, which is making this a little fatter. And then I'm going to basically press SZ, which will bring it down. So now when you look at it from the side, it'll do that. I'm going to grab the Z axis and hang on a jiff. Bring that in a little bit. So now it kind of has this sort of top and bottom feel. And all this is going to be is just mainly a little bit of looks. So I'm going to take this piece here, we're going to move it back to number 1. Just pressing M1. So now this is what it would look like. However, this piece right here, I'm going to just press H to hide that part. Right now what we're going to do is turn the tables. See, this part is cylinder math, this part is adapter part. I'm going to go in, add Boolean, difference, and then we're going to go to cylinder math, apply, and I'm going to take this part out. I'm going to actually just move it to level 2 and get this. Now this piece here has all the math from the other part. That is the cylinder right there. And you press into Z. So now this piece here has the cylinder math inside of it. It's ready so that if you print this, what'll happen? Cat, get off. Kittens. So right now, this piece has the math to print the adapter part for this piece. And so now this piece, let's see, adapter part, I'm going to actually just call that ready in capital letters so that when I go and look up this part later on, it will be, I'll just know what to look for. And then, actually, there's one thing I want to do on it, actually, is just a little bit of prudent planning. If you look at it from the side here, you'll see that is the front. This is where you're going to stick it in the car. So what I'm going to do is just go to this one little face here, and let's say press E to extrude. I'm going to press scale to scale it down and move it out just a tiny bit here, and then I'm going to press Alt M center. So now this has a little triangular spot. That'll mean when I'm putting it in the car, I'll know where to put my finger, and that'll be where the front will be. Just a nice way of planning. And then I'm going to press Alt H. Where the heck did I put that piece? That's not it. There it went. I don't know why that didn't work the first time. Basically, one of the things is H. Just pressing H will hide things. You can do it on any object on the screen. You just press Alt H to bring them back. Believe me, this will scare the crap out of you the first time you accidentally hit it and not know what H means, because you're like, what the hell, where did my project go? And you have no clue what to press, and then at some point you end up getting them back and you're like, what? But yeah, anyway. Now, this part here has the innards to that, so this one is also ready. I'm going to go R-E-A-D-Y. Actually, excuse me. R-E-A-D, capital. So now, this stuff is actually ready to be printed. I just noticed I have to change one of the letters. Having dyslexia kind of sucks sometimes. I don't think we want to print out a stick shitter. But yeah. Alright, so that is mostly all we have to do for this. Next thing I'm going to do is basically send it over to Shapeways and we'll see how it looks. One thing I forgot to tell you before you do this. Basically what I'm going to do is we're going to go into a brand new blend file. I'm going to press A and get rid of everything. Now what we're going to do is we have to convert that into a Collada file so that it can be printed into a model. We're going to basically go to Append, and then we're going to go into Stick Shift. Let me see, Stick Shift Blend, I believe it was called. Object. Nope, wrong one. Stick Shift Fix. And then we're going to go click, take ISO Stick Shifter Ready. And that just brings up that part. And we're going to go and export as Collada. And make sure we're in this right spot. I see. So now we have ISO Stick Shift. I'm just going to call that, and I'm making it purposely in capitals so that I know which to grab onto. So export Collada, and then I'm going to delete this, and we're going to basically append, let's see, adapter part ready, which is just that little blue piece with the part on it. And then we're going to go to, let's see here, export Collada DAE. And let's see, I'm going to call that in capitals ICO adapter, because that part will only work for the icosahedron part. But wait up, I'm putting it in the wrong spot. There we go. Alright, next final step's gonna be Shapeways and see how much all this stuff cost. Okay, so far I went and took the adapter and the stick shift part, put them on Shapeways. They came out to be about around $60. Probably gonna maybe try to change the design a little bit to cut off some of the price, and I might go over that, but for right now, I don't know, that's about it for the moment. And I'll probably make like a follow-up on how to maybe change the design a bit and, you know, basically add some multi-res to it, which will make it kind of cooler looking. But yeah, so anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Ciao.